Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I made the mistake of going to sleep too early yesterday, and as a result, I was up all night. So now I am on fumes, but that does not mean I'm not going to give you guys a little content before going right back to sleep. So, this is the deal: the Nets want win now talent for Kyrie Irving. Nets are irritating, but I understand what they're doing. I'm on the Lakers side of things. But you know, it from the Nets side of things, this is what I told you they would do. The price tag on the Lakers pick were ridiculously low in regards to the Nets. Once it became clear that the market had shifted and that it was difficult to make any moves because everything had inflated in price, obviously the Nets having their inflated price tag already against the Lakers in any trade that was made would have to increase that price tag as the market increased in order to fit the absurd nature of the price tag that they're trying to keep on top of the player that they're holding. This is the Nets doing what it is that they did in regards to trading KD as well. They're keeping the price tag too high so they can't move. They don't want to move. They control the cards at the end of the day on the transaction. People can up the price and the ante, they'll just up it even further. This is the point. They're in control. It's not about whether or not they want to do it or not. It's not about whether they're trying to mull over whether or not to keep KD or Kyrie or none of that in regards to us. It's a bigger thing going on here. What it is them wanting us to overpay for whatever it is that we may trade with any trade that we make with them. They want us to overpay. Reasons, I think personally to stick it to Kyrie. To be honest with you, I think the whole point is to stick it to him. I think the whole point of all this is to stick it to him. I think they're going through this entire headache because they want to make sure that they stick it to him more so than they want to make themselves a good basketball team, more so than they want to keep Kevin Durant, obviously. Because if they wanted to keep Kevin Durant, all they would have to do is offer Kyrie a deal that he would sign. 4-year deal, max money, no contingencies. They'd have Kyrie, they'd have KD, and they'd have no headaches. But they want headaches, and that's what they're creating for themselves. Now, I've been telling people this for about 2 months now, in a roundabout way. This is what it is. They want the Lakers to overpay for Kyrie, but if we put the overpay price on the table, they're just going to increase it even further. They want win now talent. What does that mean? That means that it's too expensive for you Lakers. It doesn't mean that you can scrounge around and find a third team or a fourth team to do anything. No, they're telling you stand down and wait. That's all that means. Because essentially they know we don't have win now talent. Essentially they know Kyrie Irving doesn't have any other suitors outside of us. So all they're saying is, team that wants Kyrie, we want you to sit there and think you don't have enough to get him. These are just negotiation tactics that are supposed to keep you in the face of being strong. I always said, because of what I thought Sean Marks had done, what I know he did, which I perceived to be a bad decision in trading for Royce O'Neal for a first round pick, what I thought he did was make himself look negotiation wise weak. Because what it did is it made it look like he didn't know how to value his assets. Now, that wasn't necessarily the case because he was doing business with Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge's price tag on everything was extremely high. This was a move he thought he needed to make for his team, and he paid the price tag for it. Similar to what he wants us to do in regards to Kyrie Irving. He overpaid for Royce O'Neal. He wants us to pay the same price tag for Kyrie Irving. So, without the presence of all this paranoia that I may have about them wanting to stick it to us, that may be the logic behind the price tag. I overpaid for something because the price tag on everything is high. And as I said, we want to keep the price tag very high on Kyrie Irving, and we want you to pay that. So if it's 2 picks 3 weeks ago, great. Everything's changed in price now. So that's going to probably cost you 3 picks. And of course, they don't want 3 picks. They want win now talent. So the Nets know what the Lakers have. At this point, what I would tell the Nets is this. We have this requisite amount to give you for Kyrie Irving. That's what it's going to remain. You changing the price on it because of not the manipulation. You changing the price tag because of the shift in the market is your right. but we don't have to necessarily react to it because we have LeBron James signed on for 2 years at this point. So as to where this would have been something that may have scared us 2 days ago, at this point, we got the clock on our side. We don't have to do this. And because we don't have to do this, it puts us in a position to be able to do this. As long as we have to do this and others know that, they can make it impossible for us. That's what Bron did for us 2 days ago. He made it so that these little win now reports don't have the same effect. Or not win now, but what was the word that they use? We want win now players. Yeah, it's win now. So the win now players fear tactic that they're throwing out there for the Lakers to feel like they don't have enough. At the end of the day, if you want to keep Kyrie and KD, you have to understand that you're going to have to pay Kyrie Irving what it is that KD wants Kyrie to be paid. Like, is that part not is that part not clear for all of us to understand? The tea leaves are showing me this, and this is obviously all my speculation, but everything behind the scenes clearly says that very thing. Everything I'm looking at says that. So I don't know if that's the case. Maybe KD's changed his mind. Maybe everybody's moved on. Maybe nobody wants to play for the Nets no matter what. But I still believe if you put that contract in front of Kyrie Irving, all these problems go away. I think all your problems go away. And so it's just about coming to the conclusion that you want to do that or don't want to do that. That's it. And so the Nets are going to continue to do what it is that's in the best interest of the Nets, as Josiah said. And on the other end of it, as a Laker fan, we're just going to have to sit here and feel however we feel about it. That's it. I can sit on this camera and then proceed to tell you how I feel about it. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to see his side of the fence. And when I say see his side of the fence, I mean Josiah and the Nets. Their side of the fence is, we got one shot. And I think, I'm going to tell you the truth, I think the point was really drilled home to me yesterday in a way that I didn't receive it. I don't know who it was that said it. It might have been Stephen A. It might have been someone else. But the ticket to this is, no, it was Skip Bayless. It was definitely Skip. The ticket to this all is, you only do get one Kevin Durant. Now, whatever you trade him for, you can get the requisite amount of what it's supposed to be worth, right? In theory, you should be able to get what he's worth. But because the market is shifting in the way that it is, we don't know what that price tag would be tomorrow. We don't know what that price tag would be in comparison to 2 months ago, etc. It's all so shifty. So in the process of trying to put a price tag on Kevin Durant, what you end up losing sight of, in my sight, was what I ended up losing sight of, was that this is the only single version of Kevin Durant that you get. Even if you trade him for something better, maybe trade him for something worse, whatever that is an hypothetical, because you don't actually know what it is you're going to get back, but you know for a fact it's not Kevin Durant. And that holds a lot of value by itself. That, just aside from everything else, is the understanding that even if you trade for the right price tag, you're still not going to be able to get back that player. And he is that kind of guy to where that's a problem. That's a problem. It's just like trying to trade Shaq. I could trade Shaq for double the price, but there's no other Shaqs out there. So now whatever I'm getting back, it's still not Shaq. It could be 3 Iversons, right? To make up for the price tag. And that makes me very, very good because I got 3 Iversons and I'm crazy great. But what I don't have is Shaq. And I probably just kind of want Shaq, because Shaq's going to be able to do things that 3 Iversons just won't do. I can match up a different way because I have that piece. And so does the team I'm giving it to. And so maybe I get a bunch of great stuff, hypotheticals, picks, players. Maybe even one of them turns into a Shaq. But at the end of the day, you're playing the odds of that. And the uniqueness of the situation is you don't get another Shaq. You don't get another Kevin Durant, and that's why it's relevant this way, because I do think Kevin Durant is one of those guys where it's like, yeah, you're not gonna find another one of those. You're gonna find a doppelganger, maybe you'll find somebody who's as good with some upside in some areas, but that type of efficiency, that specific piece, yeah, they don't duplicate those. They don't duplicate those. Um, I understand why people are pushing for the Brandon Ingram move, because that really does give you the closest version that you can get of that piece. You see what I'm saying? That's why, if you're the Nets, maybe you really, really would love to make a deal with the Pelicans with Brandon Ingram, because at least in that mindset, you could say, I'm not getting back Kevin Durant, but that's the exact same body type, same strengths and weaknesses, and this kid is much younger. Maybe he turns into Kevin Durant, maybe he doesn't, but him being himself is still a great version of what it is I'm giving up. As to which, if I trade him for Scotty Barnes, if I trade him for, it's totally different types of piece. If I trade that efficiency Kevin Durant, once I relinquish it, no matter what I bring back, I don't get that. And so I understand that differently this morning, and I get why people are trying to push for the Nets to kind of lean into that point more so than any others when considering what to do with Kevin Durant. I just get it differently today, and because I get it differently, I guess I just have a little more patience with the Nets today than maybe I ever had. Because now I'm like, all right, yeah, they're gonna have to make damn sure that they can't keep Kevin Durant. That's what it really comes down to. Or be damn sure that they believe in whatever it is they're trading for more than Kevin Durant. And I just don't know how I can, I don't know if they can do that. Now, for me, if I had Kevin Durant and he wanted out, and I had no way to bring him back, then at that point I'd feel confident that I can bring back what makes me, BDF44, very happy. I can't speak for Sean Marks. I can't speak for Joe Tsai. And that's whose opinion would matter in the situation. I feel great about getting back 6 picks, all of which would be from next year if possible, even though it's literally impossible. But that would be like the greatest return in a situation like this, because then I get 6 chances at Victor Wembanyama. And what those 6 chances mean is I can trade those 6 chances to someone else who desires those chances more than anything else. And they can give me back all kinds of stuff if I just don't care for Victor like that. Which seems crazy to me, by the way. But that's the point. Like, that's the kind of thing I'd probably try to do if I were in that situation and players just did not have a desire to stay with us at all. But so you gotta ask yourself, if you're the Nets, is there any chance that we can get Kevin Durant to stop this? Yes, we're in this space right now. But is there any one of these paths that we're on that can end with him saying, all right, forget it. All right, I'll put on a uniform. And as I said, I think the answer is yes. And that path is him giving Kyrie Irving a conditionless multi-year max contract. Of KD's approval, I guess, given the fact that he's using his leverage to make it happen. But I think he'll be happy with what they put in front of Kyrie, if Kyrie's happy with it. I believe that. If all of this is as it is. And I speak for none of these dudes, but I do read my tea leaves and I trust my instincts on this. So that's what it is. It's just my instincts. I think, all in all, though, the Nets will be forced to make this move, because I don't think they really want to just give in to what it is that they have to give into in order to make Kyrie and KD stay together, now that KD has done what he's done over the last several weeks. I think if they had any desire to do that, I think he might have burned it, which is why I was kind of looking at the move that KD made, saying that he wanted people fired, as something that could be a little risky. And then him coming back saying that he wasn't retired made it like a nail in the coffin in regards to what my scenario is in terms of it actually working with KD and Kyrie getting a deal for Kyrie. But I think that's the point. I think they got to a point somewhere in the last couple of weeks where they probably just thought that it just was never going to happen. The path that the paths they were on didn't lead to them getting Kyrie's contract, so I think they just decided to move on from the plan. That's what it looked like to me. So if they moved on from the plan, that means Brooklyn's decision is already made. And if Brooklyn's decision is already made, then them talking about the Lakers need to give them win now talent, like I said, it's just posturing, because they are poised to make a move despite them saying they're not. That's what all this is showing me. They're poised to make a move. The Nets are ready. They're ready to make a move. They just want us to think that they're not. They want us to squirm. They want us to up the ante. They're looking at something on our roster that they want, or they're looking at something on a third team's roster that they think we can negotiate them to get. That's what I think. Or they're trying to get another team involved to up the to give them more leverage against us in a Kyrie Irving trade. Maybe they can, if they can get a team to say, "Ooh, we got some win now, guys." Maybe in Miami, step up with a Tyler Hero expiring contract, and maybe some picks for Kyrie Irving, and they would love to give them that, right? They would love to go for that. Obviously, the Heat, I don't think have any interest in doing something like that, but that's the type of thing that I think the Nets are hoping would just stumble into their wake. But that's just illogical completely in my mind. Nobody's gonna do that because everybody knows he wants to go to the Lakers, and everybody has the mentality that he's only going to play a certain amount of games, and everybody understands the narrative surrounding his name, and they're going to value him with that narrative attached to it. So they're not going to want to give you Tyler Hero for him. They're not going to want to do that. That's the problem. That is your problem. And in regards to this, but it doesn't mean that you don't try it, because if you're in a world where Sacramento gave away Tyrese Halliburton for the price tag that they did, anything is possible. When you see what Rudy Gobert just went for, anything is possible, and that is the point. That's the point. That's why you play hardball if you're the Nets. That's why you sit here and annoy BDF 44 if you're the Nets, because anything's possible as it pertains to what guys may be willing to do. If for some reason things become different in their locker rooms or different on their, as they look at their teams, maybe they decide they need Kyrie. And if they do, you're right there with him, ready to use the Lakers as leverage to make that deal happen. See, that's what the Nets are hoping to do. So, just trying to just wait so things can open up to create an opportunity for them to get a better deal. Because right now, they can only settle for what the Lakers have, and that's not good enough for them. Because this is a one-shot deal for them. Once you get rid of Kyrie and KD, as we said, you don't get those guys back. There ain't no replacing them. So you got one chance to get it right. And if you can't get that one chance right, then you do need to hold off until you can find that deal. And that's just the only way to play it. And that's how they're playing it. So we get to be frustrated about it. This is how it feels to be on the other side. We went through this with the AD situation as well. Dell Demps was playing hardball. Now, he overplayed his hand and held his position and clock too long. That's what happened there. He just misplayed that. You get to a certain point where you're bluffing, and then you let the clock lapse. You're not supposed to still be bluffing. At that point, you're either supposed to do something or you stand on the fact that you don't want to do something and live with the consequences. That's what he did, and it got him fired. So I don't think Sean Marks is going to make that same mistake. I obviously don't think Sean Marks is in the same position either. It's a different owner with different thoughts. But I will say this. He has to get this one right. And I don't know what Joe Tsai's opinion is in regards to wanting to keep Kevin Durant today. Maybe he has a different opinion about it as the time progresses, even so. So that's also something you have to kind of work into your equation. When a situation like this is in place, you have to work into the equation that the owner's opinion may shift back and forth. And as you're negotiating, you may have to work that into the equation. You may find yourself with a deal. Bring it back to him and he say, I don't know. And when that happens, you go back to the negotiation table and it affects the price tag on everything you have. Because now the other team is sitting there saying, what do you mean you don't know? We had a deal. You told me he said he was ready to make the deal. But when you go back to the owner, he's like, I was ready, but I don't know. I'm not certain. Like, that kind of stuff happens A lot, I would imagine. Like it seems like that would happen too much if you're a GM. And so that's something I think I want to just throw out there. That's a seed to keep in our minds that could affect why things don't happen right away, or why stuff gets reported and guys look like they're so confident things are going to happen and then they just don't, fall apart last minute, or trades come out of nowhere that you never heard of because somebody decides to just impulsively do something that they just heard about on the phone right now. Like that kind of stuff is going on. And so you got to remember the GMs only have but so much power, and once the owners step in, they look at what the GM shows them, and either they like it or they don't. And if they're wishy-washy, they're iffy all over the place, you can best believe it's going to reflect in what's going on. So yeah, I don't know that that's happening right now, but it can all the time in any of these situations. So that's just something to think about. Them owners, sometimes maybe, I don't know, we doing this, yeah, on Tuesday but not on Thursday. Like you can't operate in that situation. That's very difficult. So yeah, man, that's what I wanted to say. We're just waiting, and very much aware that the Brooklyn Nets are just playing it as smart as they can. I think that they're actually improving. If I'm looking at what I'm seeing, Sean Marks is getting better at maneuvering right now, and it's not necessarily he's doing anything different. He's just making sure that he puts out the type of stuff that needs to be put out to keep people like myself on our toes on this side of the fence. And I don't think that he was doing enough of that in an effective way in this process. I think when he does that, it's almost like, yeah, but no. Even now it's yeah, but no. But you still got to do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those type of situations. So you just at a disadvantage if you're the Nets, because guys want out. That's it. If everybody was in place and it was a secret that KD wanted out, they could get a haul beyond understanding for this man. But because talking heads are in the mix, because it is well known by everybody that Kevin Durant wants out and that the scenario has gone as it is, now the Nets just have to work with a little bit of nothing in regards to trying to trade their pieces. And you can't replace these guys. The bottom line, you cannot replace Kevin Durant. Ain't no replacing no Kevin Durant. I'm very clear on that now. So we wait, we continue to wait, and then we wait some more. And, no prediction really holds a lot of weight as it pertains to how long this is going to take. The only thing I can honestly say is it's a good thing that moves are now being made again, because it does open up the possibility of something big. But aside from that, guys are just holding their cards and waiting to see a great opportunity open up for themselves. So that's it, man. That is it. I'm going back to sleep. My eyes are heavy, and my buddies are taking me out tonight, and I gotta have some energy for that. So I thank you all for rocking with BDF 44.